Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello and welcome, people, to Footy Judge Mo. Or people want to say we're late. Listen, this is not TV. We're not on the schedule. Even NBC here is late sometimes for the games. Sometimes they are. But listen, people, welcome everybody to Footy Judge Mo. I'm waking up early for this show because I'm so excited about this. Ruben Amorim almost done to Liverpool. Paquetá, Man City agreed personal terms, but it said that they have never said anything to West Ham yet. Now West Ham are going to ask for 150 million pounds, something like this, of course, just to piss off Manchester City. And Champions League night, people. Champions League night. Arsenal with the big boys. Arsenal now with the big boys. Quarterfinal of the Champions League. Mikel Arteta. And of course, you guys watched yesterday, myself and Nubbins going for an hour, 10 minutes about Arsenal's double versus Man City's triple. That was hilarious. Absolutely pissed off a lot of people, actually. And I know that will spark a conversation. Somehow, if Arsenal win today, this will be leaked to Twitter and people will take it to Twitter and it will be Arsenal's double is better than Manchester City's triple. If it's done, of course. But of course, Manchester City going to Real Madrid with a lot of injuries. Ake is out, Guardiola is out, Kyle Walker is out. It looks like it's going to be Rico Lewis, Diaz, Stones with no subs at the back. But listen, if you're here first, hit that like button now. You know the target. The target is right off the bat. Let's get to 300 to 400 likes live right here. And also on the replay, if you're watching this on the replay, hit that like button because the target is 500 to 600 likes. Like button helps the channel massively. It helps this video goes to more people. We have been getting our target lately, 500, 600 likes. Absolutely brilliant. Also, if you're going to send super chats, we're going to have a section where we discuss every single super chat. And also, you can clip them like the people did yesterday. You can clip your part of the super chat, the response and everything. And you can do whatever you want with it, of course. But big up everybody. I'm here with Blue Tone representing Man City, of course. Rams is here to talk about Liverpool, of course, and talk about the Champions League that they won 6 times. Of course, they're going to tell Arsenal, Man City how to do it, of course. And Rory, of course, is here, back by a popular demand. Rory is here. How is everyone doing this afternoon for you? And very early morning.
Right.
Good,
Very
thank you.
good.
Yeah, good. Nervous, excited.
Yes,
Buzzing.
excited, nervous. You going to the game?
Yes, yeah.
All right, quarter
That'd be
final.
wicked.
Is that your
Yeah.
first, Rory? First,
My first-
quarter final.
Yeah. It's my first.
Mo
my first
knows what
Champions
he's
League
doing.
quarterfinal.
No, I'm not.
Staring.
No, I
It
thought,
is.
Bloody
I thought
staring.
Rory's not that young.
No,
Oh.
it's my first quarterfinal. Yeah, the last
Like,
time
I
we
thought
got
he
there,
would
I was
go.
a
I think that
a
the
young child.
last was 2010, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So it's not
I was
that
a young
long.
boy.
Oh, I thought you were being cheeky, bro. I thought you'd
I'm
be
not.
like,
Yeah.
Actually, not.
Same, yeah.
Not at all. Not at all. Listen, I think we'll start only with Ruben Amorim to Liverpool. The news that Liverpool offered him 3-year contract. He's gonna be the one to join Liverpool. We know that they're gonna. How are you feeling about this? Are you Tom Little's camp? Ruben Amorim is the Messiah. Ruben Amorim is the guy that is gonna take Liverpool to succeed and all doing all these things. Because I'm like, I feel Liverpool are too excited. Some of the fans are too excited about Amorim. That, like, I have this feeling that a lot of people are saying, okay, we can't wait for Klopp to leave and Amorim to join the club now.
if they're thinking that, Mo, that's insane for me. But me, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know much about Amorim. I've had to do my research, obviously, since the news broke the last couple months. I spoke to Tom Little a lot about him and other little Liverpool fans. I think the adulation and a lot of the excitement comes from the formation he will implement at us, because a lot of our fan base have been screaming for years, Trent's not a right back. Play him as a wing back, you'll get the best out of him. He'll have less defensive responsibilities. And if you know Ruben Amorim at Sporting, he plays a 3-4-3. So we could play a Van Dijk, Konate, or Gomez, or even a Kwanzaa as the back three. And now Trent has more license to go forward. Also, we've been linked with Inacio even before the Amorim link. So I think that's another link where fans are like, you know what, he might come because he has that good rapport with Amorim as well. I think it's Pedro Goncalves. I think that's how you pronounce his name from I think he's from Sporting as well. There's been links there. So I think the main adulation comes from he's an attacking manager. He will play a formation that tailors to the personnel we have, and also he'll bring some plays himself. So I don't know much about him, but I think his resume is quite good. He promoted Casapia from the second division into the first. He's going to win another league title, but he's already won their first league title in, I think, 20 odd years. So he does have that winning mentality. He's got things under his CV. Like I said, he could do the league and cup double this year. Not sorry to bring this in, Rory, but knocked out the mighty Arsenal last year in the UEFA League. So he does have that winning mentality about himself. So with me, I still want to concentrate on this season. We still got a Prem that we can at least compete for. We've got the Europa League we're in. But I wouldn't be too excited, but it's a good appointment. It's better than the other options we had. I think he would, in my opinion, be better than a De Zerbi. And Alonso, me and you have spoke about this before, Mo, on other channels. Alonso, I think it might have been a bit too early for him. So I think Amorim's the best out of the bunch that we were linked to.
How much? How much patience do you guys think Liverpool will give this guy?
Have to give him at least a year. Have to, Mo. The thing is, we're quite a patient club when it comes to managers. When it comes to managers, we're a patient club. The only way there won't be patience is if he comes in and a similar thing happens at United where there's not a clear identity from the start. If he comes in and we don't know what's going on, I think patience will run very thin. But if he comes in, has a good way of playing, we understand that identity, we'll give him time. We did it with Klopp. Klopp in his first season got to two
but he's
finals.
the only successful manager, Roms.
He's Klopp.
Yeah, he's the only successful manager in the modern era with Liverpool. Yes, Rafa Benitez won a Champions League, but genuinely,
you know why that is?
It's like
You know
Manchester United telling me we'll give a manager time because we gave Alex Ferguson time. He's your only successful manager. You knew no success after him. Does that make sense?
The reason why I say that, Mo, is because you saw with Hodgson and Rodgers, it was kind of all over the place. The only thing that papered over the crack with Rodgers is that we had a title run, but that's due to personnel. That's due to having Suarez, one of the best strikers in the world at that moment, and having Gerrard. We already had cogs in there. Rodgers' actual game plan and what he tried to implement didn't really work. It was individual brilliance, in my opinion, that got us where we were. And it was evident because the season after that, he gets sacked. So I think Klopp's the first manager in the modern era, other than Benitez, that have come into the fold. And we knew straight away what he's trying to do. Yes, it took time. We got to 2 cup finals that season and lost them. But then the following year, we get straight back into Europe because we saw what he was trying to do. And it was slowly building the blocks. Then got to a Champions League final, lost against Madrid, win the Champions League final the next year, then win the Premier League the next year. And I just feel the only way to answer your question, we won't have patience with Amorim if there's not a clear plan to see what he's trying to do. But I reckon we'll give him time. My expectations would be a top 3 finish because I still believe we're better than United, Chelsea, Villa, Newcastle. Any Liverpool fan that's saying anything below 3rd in his first season, I still think that would be deemed, I wouldn't say a failure, but it'll be underwhelming. I still expect 3rd minimum next season and a trophy to go with it. That's my view on Amorim.
How are the other guys like seeing this Amorim thing? Of course, I'm going to start with Stone. Jurgen Klopp, the challenger for Pep all these years and all the stuff, and Liverpool have been the rivalry, if you want to call that. Of course, it's the sweetest rivalry in the history of the Premier League, of course. How do you see that appointment? Do you see Liverpool falling off, as everybody's telling us?
It's very, very difficult to answer. I'm glad Klopp's going, to be honest, because he's a pain in the backside. He's a top manager and he's been very, very good with Liverpool overall. I know there's this little thing of the 5 seasons out of 8, no trophy stuff, which, to be fair, I've jumped on a little bit as a bit of a wind up. But he's clearly a top manager. And in terms of this new chap, if they do appoint him, I don't know an awful lot about him. I know he's well thought of, I don't know. Apparently, he's very well thought of at Bayern Munich and Real Madrid and a lot of the top clubs. So he's clearly one of the upcomers. And he plays good football. So it's really, really difficult to know what he's going to do. He could come in and they'll be sat in mid-table, or he could come in and win the first 8 games. They've got a good squad there, good team. They'll invest, I suspect, in the summer, clear a couple out. Yeah, I mean, I think he'll probably do quite well but purely based on what I've read and talks I've had with. If I talk with Liverpool fans, they'll obviously say, "Oh yeah, no, he's going to be great, great, great." A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot, But talking with fans of other clubs, 2 or 3 were saying he's going to be a very, very good manager. So if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be a little hyped for it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Rory, Arteta is the upcoming guy there. Ruben Amorim coming in, another young manager. Do you see him repeating Arteta's story with Liverpool? Especially he's starting from a way better position than where Arteta started.
Yeah, I think that's the tricky thing. I rate him. I've watched a lot of Sporting over the last few months, mainly because I've been watching Gyökeres. But within that, you can tell that is an exceptionally well-drilled team. The way they set up is really good. And, whilst he's relatively new as a manager, he's pretty much had success every season at Sporting, even when they've not won the league. I think the difficulty is, he's only managed in the Portuguese league before. Coming to the Premier League is a whole different ballgame. I think Arteta being at City for a couple of years was massively beneficial for him in terms of learning and understanding the Premier League without having the pressure of being the front guy. And I do think there will be a lot more pressure on Amorim because of where Liverpool are at. Liverpool at the moment have effectively a title-winning squad, or what could be a title-winning squad. It's not the same as even when Klopp came in. Klopp outperformed expectations because he immediately improved results with a squad that wasn't very good, and that buys you time. What can Amorim do, really, unless they're in a title race again next season? He can't outperform expectations. All he can really do is come in and sustain what they're doing now or take them down. And I would expect him to take them down. I wouldn't expect him to have them in a title race next season. I just think that's an incredibly difficult thing to do. And so for me, I'd give him more than a year. I know Rom said you've got to give him at least a year. I say you've got to give him at least 2. I think even though he's got that squad, there's going to be a lot of change in that squad over the next 2 years. You're looking at Alisson, Van Dijk, Salah, all potentially moving on. So I think you've got to give him a couple of years. It's exciting. I think it's exciting for the league. He probably is the best up-and-coming young manager other than Alonso, and it's good to have him come into the Premier League rather than to a different league. But, I certainly think it will be a serious challenge, and I wouldn't expect him to come in and sort of, take over from where Klopp left off.
Yeah. What about the players, though? Rom's last thing is the players for Liverpool. How do you see them staying or leaving? Mohamed Salah and all the talk about him leaving, and Van Dijk.
I think, my humble opinion, I think Van Dijk and Trent do sign. One thing I would say is I'm not going to be ignorant to the fact. I feel like in football, there's not much loyalty anymore. I think Trent signs a contract, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Real Madrid in the next 2-3 years, if the offer's still on the table. But I think in the immediate future, I think Van Dijk and Trent do sign. Salah, and I've said this for months now, I do think this is the last season. Regardless what happens, you'll get some Liverpool fans that say he's still motivated to win something big. Maybe he might not go to Saudi, but another big European team. But my rebuttal to that is who's going to pay, what other European team other than maybe PSG will pay his wages? And he might look at it himself as in, I've gone to a great league I'm not saying league as a bad league. I think in terms of talent, it's very good. But the overall collective, the level of the league, is the same winner pretty much every year. So I do believe Salah will probably go to Saudi. But in terms of the other clear-outs and who will stay, like I said, the main two, our priority, once Amorim gets appointed, we've got our footballing structure into place with Edwards and I think the guy from Stein and I think from Bournemouth that may come in, whatnot. But I think the main thing we need to tie down now is Trent and Van Dijk. You could even say Alisson as well, because I think Alisson's got a year left after this summer. So they're the 3 main we need to tie down. In terms of outgoings, I think Salah will leave. I believe Matip, we're not going to renew. Obviously, Thiago's already been talked about. He won't stay. LFC Aaron says Robertson, I think we will keep him for another season just for experience. I don't think he'll be a starter in the first team next season. I think we do sign a left back, but I think Robertson will stay another year. We'll sign a left back. Tsimikas we could sell Tsimikas in my opinion, but I don't think there'll be many other than maybe the players that have run out their contract, your Thiago's, your Matip, Salah leaving. I don't think there'll be many outgoings. I think there will be quite a few incomings, but there won't be loads because, like Rory was saying, we still have that nucleus, we still have that core that is in our starting 11. But I think Inacio is one that could happen because, again, we've been linked with him even before the Amorim link. So the fact we're now getting the manager that he has a rapport with, that he's worked under, I think that's very likely. Now we're also looking at Diamonde as well, but I know Arsenal are, I think, as well, Rory, and another few big European clubs. But I think that will come in. I think we'll also look to probably bring in a DM. Endo's played very well, and he's proved me wrong. I didn't think he necessarily had a future. I think maybe stay to the end of the season, then we look to move Endo on, but he's proved me completely wrong. I feel like we'll get an out and out DM also, but I don't think there'll be many outgoings and incomings. I just think there'll be a few tweaks, and Amorim will deal with the main core that he has. Diaz could leave though, because his dad has flirted with the Barcelona links and whatnot. That could be one we need to keep an eye on, because South Americans, the pinnacle for them is Real Madrid or Barcelona. We've seen it.
Argentinian players. Because of the language.
Yeah, because of the language, but also they see them as the pinnacle. They see them as the two big teams. So when Diaz's dad come out, and it's wrong timing because we've got objectives. We're in a title race. We're trying to go for the Europa League, and then you're linking one of our best attackers with a move away from the club. It wasn't a great time. So I think that's one we have to keep an eye on. I do think Diaz stays, but it wouldn't be a surprise if he does leave, because if a team come in and quote 60, 70 million, which has been quoted, FSG, look, we know what FSG are like. They like to recoup to then spend.
Yeah.
Where we do the money ball model. So that's one we need to keep an eye on. That's one we need to keep an eye on.
For this manager situation, my take on it, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this, is that because the manager market now stinks, actually Jurgen Klopp put Liverpool in a difficult situation. Amorim is an uncalculated risk. The reason why is that because Liverpool were not in a great place for years and years and years. Apart from the Champions League in 2005 and the final in 2007, I don't think Liverpool have been really at the top or near the top of English football at all. I remember Liverpool celebrated winning 4-1 against Manchester United once as they won the league. I remember that game still. I can remember this was 2009 with Desena scoring that lob.
Good lob,
2012 or 11. But Jurgen Klopp got the squad into that area, and he knew that the market stinks like that. I think he assumed that Xabi Alonso would be coming to Liverpool. I'm actually thinking that Jurgen Klopp, again, yes, he quit, he wants a break and all this stuff, but he left the team, as Rory said, it might require 2 years. And at that time, Man City might be in even a better place, or Arsenal being in a better place. Man United might have recovered. You never know. Chelsea might have recovered. It's very unlikely, but you can see it. You know what I mean? Like, I would have expected at least Jurgen Klopp to stay 1 more year, especially to replace Mohamed Salah, who's, in my opinion, he is the guy up top, right? Like, Darwin Núñez has not performed. You know what I mean? Like, now, imagine if Jurgen Klopp leaves, Mohamed Salah leaves. Now, what happens to that forward line? Complete revamp. Because you said Diaz is leaving. Núñez is not reliable. I think he might leave the squad in a tough place.
Jota's injury prone as well. Our second best attacker in Jota, he's injury prone.
Literally, he might leave the squad in not in a good shape in terms of like up top, especially. But we'll see at the back. I don't know, but I feel like if Pep leaves Man City today, he leaves them in a better place than Jurgen Klopp leaving the Liverpool, of course.
Yeah.
Right. But listen, people, over 400 people here. Let's get that likes up to 200 at least. 200 at least. And actually, I don't think Mohamed Salah is going to go to Paris Saint-Germain. If Mohamed Salah leaves, he's going to go to Saudi Arabia. Otherwise, he's going to sign a new contract, in my opinion. He's either going to sign a new contract or he's going to go to Saudi Arabia. He's not going to go to PSG and live the Messi thing again, where people hate him and say you flop.
No, Mo. Like I was just saying, Mo, that there's some fans that think, cool, if he does still want to remain playing in the Champions League at a high level, that he may leave to another European club. And I said, no, he won't. The only other club that can even afford him, other than Real Madrid and whatnot, but they're not going to go in for him. The only likely club would be a PSG. But I agree with you. I think Saudi's the only destination for him if he was to leave.
Yeah, moving on from Liverpool, going to Manchester City and Arsenal for the Champions League. Before we start, I want to get Tony's opinion about Paquetá and how there is a rumor today that Manchester City already agreed Paquetá's personal terms with the player. We know that you guys were linked to him in last summer, and it looked like a match made in heaven for Pep Guardiola on that rule on the left side of midfield, and he's very versatile player. I like Paquetá. How do you see him going to the squad, and where does that leave Foden and Kevin De Bruyne?
Good question. Paquetá had agreed all the move last summer, so I don't think anything's really shifted since that. All the talk about is, I think the same article said, they still need to negotiate with West Ham. There'll be no negotiation. It's £85 million, and that's the release clause from June. And West Ham won't want a penny less than that, which is fair enough. That's their business. And City will probably pay the 85 million to get him, it seems. Bernardo will probably go in the summer. I think that's quite clear. More and more people saying it now, which is a big loss, big loss for City. Not so much from an attacking perspective with Bernardo, but just the work rate. Paquetá's not particularly similar that I've seen to Bernardo, so it's not really a straight-up replacement. In terms of De Bruyne, he's only got a year left, so he needs to extend, or there's a possibility he could be off to Saudi as well. As a couple of clubs eyeing him up, which that'll be interesting if somebody comes in with a bid over 100 million and offering him £1 million after tax, I think, a week, which is, I know it gets to a point where you're like, how much money do these players bloody need? But when it's £1 million after tax a week and £100 million fee for City, 30, I think is he 33, De Bruyne, somewhere around that area, and he's having a few little injury problems, you've got to consider it as a business. All football clubs are business, I'm afraid. I know it sounds cold and calculated, and it's not a nice way to look at it. But
you said it in a way like, if we have to sell him, who goes? Well, watch Liverpool fans when Salah was just 200 million. You see the difference between attachment to players. Like Tony's sitting there and like, if he doesn't sign, he'll have to go and we'll have to get some fees. Liverpool fans last year, even if he doesn't sign, we're not giving Salah away even for 200 million. I'm like, look at the difference.
He's our best player, though. He's our best player.
He's their best player as well.
Yeah, De Bruyne. I think De Bruyne is our best player, but one of the best all-time Premier League players, one of our best all-time. But look, I want him to stay. If somebody said stay or go, I want him to stay and sign another extension, and I think he probably will. But realistically, you have to think about if somebody comes in with over 100 mil, people at City are going to go, well, you've got to at least consider it.
How do you think anybody's paying 100 million? Do you think someone's paying 100 million? Does anybody here think someone's paying 100 million for Kevin De Bruyne, 33 years old?
Saudi, maybe. Other than that,
not even Saudi.
Even Saudi, I think the max they'll go to is 50 million, maybe.
50
but 100
million, come on, 100 million for a 33 years old player?
Yeah, I can't see that.
The only reason why they paid that for Salah, guys, is like, I think you guys don't get it. Like Salah, Egypt is 100 million people. Like that's 100 million population. Salah going to Saudi is bringing them that money. Like that was completely different move. The reason why they agreed to pay that money is that Salah would be the face. It wasn't going to be Cristiano. It wasn't going to be anybody. It was going to be Mohamed Salah. The whole region is going to be Mohamed Salah. But like 100 million, I think Kevin De Bruyne is going to extend to him, to be honest.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Same with Pep. He's going to stay until Pep leaves.
Yeah, well, Pep runs out the same time next summer. So hopefully,
2 years here, 2 years there, dominate the league again. And
we'll see. It'd be nice. But I think he'll stay. And that is the word, is that he wants to stay. Manchester's his home, all that type of thing. So, I hope he does stay. He's an amazing player. We saw it again with Palace the other day. It's just phenomenal.
Go into the Champions League, though. Now, the real talk about the night. Guys, absolutely brilliant, guys. Almost 500 people here. Let's get the likes up. I'll start with Rory, actually, about Manchester City. Who do you think is tougher for you to beat in the semi-final from Manchester City and Real Madrid?
City, I think, would be more difficult.
You want City to go through?
No, I want Real Madrid. City would be more difficult, so I want Real Madrid to go through. Yeah, I think City would be tougher. Just in terms of I think the way Real Madrid set up, I think we would have a better chance over 2 legs of beating them. I wasn't that impressed with them against RB Leipzig. So yeah, I'd rather play against Real Madrid. I'd also rather play against Real Madrid for the spectacle of it, for the, like, you know, we've playing City twice again this season. We've already played them twice. They weren't great games. I think it'd be a lot better to play Real Madrid.
But Rory, my rebuttal to that is I completely understand your logic, but isn't it better the devil you know? You've restricted them to 2 shots on target in the past 2 games, where Real Madrid is a different entity, where you're used to Manchester City. I almost think that you should want to play Manchester City in the next leg as opposed to Real Madrid.
Yeah, I mean, look, in theory, we have beaten them over 2 legs this season. We won at home and drew away. But then you've also got to ask, and we beat them in the Community Shield on penalties, is Arteta going to get the better of Pep 5 times in a single season? Or is Pep going to learn? And if Pep doesn't learn, well, then you've got to start asking different questions. But no, I'd rather play Real Madrid. Yeah. I also just think if we play City again, they'll feel like Premier League ties. It won't be the same. So hopefully we get Madrid. And to be honest, I wish I could watch the Madrid City game tonight. Like, I think it's a shambles that they're on at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I think at the Bernabeu, the onus is on Real Madrid. City have got these injuries. Real Madrid will, know that they need to capitalize on that in this leg because the Etihad's going to be such a different and more difficult game. They're closing the roof of the Bernabeu tonight to increase the atmosphere even more.
Why is that a big deal?
Because it'll make it so much louder.
Okay, so why it's their right to do that. It's not against the law.
Oh yeah, no.
But the media in England are making it seem like the conspiracy thing. But I opened the Daily Mail, the Daily News, the Sun this morning, and Football London. They're making it sound like it's a conspiracy theory between UEFA and Real Madrid. I'm like, it's just closing the roof.
Yeah, no, I don't. The English media, they'll do what they'll do.
Does anybody here see Real Madrid going through? Honestly, yes. Even with the second leg being at the Etihad.
Yeah, I'm not saying I think it will.
Have we learned anything, Rory, from last season?
What about the season before that? I'm not saying it will.
I think Pep Guardiola learned, Rory. You don't think that Pep Guardiola learned?
And Rory, do you know what it is as well? Like, again, Champions League's not about who's better, but I do think we need to add this into context. Real Madrid were better City were better over the past 2 years. It was literally a 2-minute spell, and that's all you need in the Champions League. To be fair, It was only a 2-minute spell that knocked them out. So I just feel, and even correct me if I'm wrong, Tony. Even back in the day of Pellegrini, they only knocked you out on away goals. Your record's quite. I think it was away goals when they had Ronaldo and whatnot. Your record's quite decent against them. I think second leg is key because I think statistically, the team that advances is the one that second leg, the one that has to play their match second leg at home.
70%, Roms.
70. I thought it was lower.
70%.
See, you're proving what I'm saying even more. I just think if it was the other way round,
brown envelopes. Brown envelopes. Second leg of the quarterfinal and the semifinal. Is it the second leg of the round the 16 quarterfinal and the semifinal at the Etihad second leg?
Yep.
All right then, Tone.
All right then,
Tone. All right then, Tone.
I think you're right.
City go through.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think whoever was home in the second leg would have that slight 60-40 thing. In my view, I make City marginal favourites purely based on that. But I think it's worth remembering, though, last season, especially the first half at home, was probably the best football I've seen City ever play. I mean, it was ridiculous level of football. We're not at that level right now. We are missing a few players. I think Real Madrid are doing pretty well from what I've heard elsewhere. I've not seen that much of them. So I think this will definitely be closer than last year, because last year was not at all. Over 2 legs, I mean. And I think tonight is key for Real Madrid. They've also got 4 players, key players, Bellingham and a few of the others that are on yellow cards. And if they get another one tonight, they miss the second leg. So that could play into City's hands a little bit as well tonight. But it's going to be, I think it's just going to be very, very, very tough.
What about the injuries,
tonight.
Tone? What about the injuries?
The City's.
Yeah.
Kyle Walker, look, he's not had a good season. at all. Kyle Walker, he switched off more than he normally would. He's still a big miss because he's obviously very, very good against is it Vinicius on that side?
Yes.
And when we played Paris and Mbappe, he's closed him down and all that sort of thing. So Walker's a big miss. Ake, Guardiola's travelled, but he's unlikely to start. Ake's a miss because Guardiola's missing. If we had one of those, I wouldn't be so bothered with the other one being out. Edison could start. So, and Akanji as well. We've still got him to come back in. So the injuries, I think the Walker one's a bad one. The others, I think we can manage.
Yeah.
So this is why this is my logic for thinking. And by the way, I'm saying I think Real Madrid could do it. The question you asked was could Real Madrid do it? And the reason is City have looked vulnerable on counter-attacks all season, especially without Kyle Walker. You look even in the Palace game at the weekend, they went 1-0 up with a break from Arteta. They could have gone 2-0 up. They had a 4-on-2 that they made a mess of. I'm looking at Vinicius Jr. against that backline with no Kyle Walker. And I just think it's one of those games where City could very easily outplay Real Madrid for the majority of the game, get caught out once or twice, and Real Madrid win it. And then if they can go to the Etihad with a lead to protect, again, the counter-attack can become even more lethal at the Etihad because City have to go for a win. So I'm not saying it will happen. I just think this is the best opportunity that Real Madrid have because of the injuries, because of the way City have struggled to deal with those counter-attacks all season. I just think it might fall into Real Madrid's hand a little bit.
Do you think City are much weaker than last year as well, in my opinion? Haaland is not on point like last season.
Yeah.
Kevin De Bruyne in and out of the squad, right? They can't find a left winger to be consistent in there. Is it Jack Grealish? Is it Doku? Is it Foden? Right? Even the right winger he isn't even set on Bernardo Silva on the right side. He changes his mind every game because he doesn't know who to play next to Rodri. Is it on the defensive line? By the way, even when he had everyone fit, he started Walker, and the fans didn't like it. They're like, he's making mistakes. Why are you Why not Akanji? He can't find the right combination, and it's very strange that we are in April now, and normally Pep Guardiola finds the right combination 2 months ago. 2 months ago, they already found their starting lineup that we all know. We go to the game knowing that in the big games, we know who's starting. We can all name, apart from maybe one player or something, like we normally know 10 players who start. Nowadays, by the way, if everyone is fit tomorrow, you might not know who to pick, how Guardiola will line up against Real Madrid.
No. Do you know why you're spot on? Because even down to the Foden and KDB situation, I feel like it's a good headache, but it has its pros and cons because you want both of them on the pitch at the same time. But it takes from Foden's game because Foden then gets shifted onto the wide areas. And I think as a City fan, you would even admit, Tony, he doesn't excel as good as he does centrally. But then it's like, if you start Foden, you can't really start a KDB, but then he's a game winner. He can win a game by himself. You saw it at the weekend. So I think Pep has a selection headache with that. But the only pro to that is it enables KDB to get more rest. Because let's be honest, he's not getting any younger. I feel like he might now have a role where he can come on the last 20, 30 minutes of games and just kill the game off. But another reason, in my opinion, why I think City have got weaker is because two key players, and I know obviously it's a bit cliche now, but Gundogan and Mahrez, they were game winners in themselves. We saw time and time again they could win games. The fact that you've lost them, I feel like Kovacic has done actually all right. I feel like he's been a bit underrated for you. When he's come into the fold, I think he's done decent. But I think your Doku's, your Mateus Nunes we know under Pep, you don't always hit off in your first season. We saw it with Cancelo, we saw it with Rodri, but I just feel where you're in a mode where you want to try and win everything again, you have weakened because you've kind of replaced two game winners with two kind of novices, two players that are kind of still finding their feet. So I think City have got weaker. That's not to say you won't win it anything because you still have quality in every department, but I do think you have got weaker this season.
It's only because of Pep. I think so. I'm gonna get Tony Steck. If this team is coached by any other coach, we would not have picked them as favorites. It's Pep Guardiola. Look at the team that will start today.
That's a good point.
Look at the team that will start today. Like, I know that people talk about Rodri, Haaland, KDB, Foden, and all this stuff. I'm sorry, without Pep today, this Man City team is two steps behind. Pep is that guy. Pep is that guy that can utilize someone like Rico Lewis and make him look like this. Pep can utilize Kovacic. Pep utilizes a lot of players. This is because of Pep, in my opinion. Of course, we'll talk about Pep if he signs or not sign a new contract. But that's Pep Guardiola. He's giving you the edge over everyone in the world at the current moment.
You could say that about Liverpool though as well, Mo.
No.
Sorry to cut you, Tony. You could say that about us because we're not as good, but because we've got Klopp, I just feel like
you're still not good.
He's squeezing everything out of our team.
You're still not good.
no, don't do that. We can't not be good,
bro.
We're level not good with Arsenal. Oh, and we're second on goal difference. You can't say we're not good if we're on top of the league.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Who's the worst out of the three teams in terms of like football played and all the stuff?
Us, but it doesn't mean we're a bad team. We're just not as good as Arsenal.
By the way, the word bad is very subjective. Because by the way, if someone is 10 out of 10 and 9 or an 8 is worse, doesn't mean they're bad. They're just worse.
I see what you've done there. I just see what you've done.
Tone, go ahead. Sorry to cut you off about Man City and the lineup and all the stuff and the headaches that he has.
Yeah, no worries. Pep does elevate. There's no doubt, and that's why he's the best or one of the best. I'm quite interested to see how they line up tonight. I've been on a few shows and we've all had different views. Now, a part of that is because we've got a good squad, and it's nice to have those arguments where you can say, I don't know, I'd like Foden here or Bernardo here. You know, it's a nice headache to have. So I think he will line up with Rodri, De Bruyne and Bernardo in the middle, with Foden on the right and Grealish on the left. I know Grealish gets a bit of flack. He is absolutely key in this game that he starts, in my view. The stats, if you go onto these stat sites, I don't know, you'll get 7 out of 10 or whatever he gets on these things. Trust me, I don't think he got a goal. Well, he didn't get a goal or assist at Palace. He was probably our best player. And obviously Real Madrid is different to Palace, but he is key that he plays on the left. And I do think in the middle it'll be Bernardo, De Bruyne and Rodri, which I think Bernardo will help Rodri out. But I have heard a little rumour, and it is just speculation before anyone on the chat takes it as golden. It's just word that Bernardo was training as a fullback, was lined up as a fullback in some of the training session, which that's a big worry, which would probably mean Kovacic will then start. But I suspect Rico Lewis will probably start maybe left. He could start on the left with Akanji on the right or swap them over, but Rico Lewis will invert anyway. I would worry about Rico Lewis if he's on the right. My God, he's a good player and he's a good young lad, but bloody hell, down Real Madrid's left, oh my Lord, he could get skinned. So, I'm more intrigued to see our City line up. It could be 5 or 6 different lineups. We could go any which way with this, but Pep won't play scared. He certainly won't be sat there going, "Oh, put everyone behind the ball." There'll be none of that. Absolutely never happen.
Yeah, Tony, Akash is saying, "Big up Bellingham to slice Manchester City."
Possible.
Tony, your point on Bernardo. Didn't he play left back in a future? I think it was even
Arsenal,
in the Champions League.
Arsenal,
yeah.
Correct. He did, and that's why it's interesting to see that he'd done it in training. I wasn't sure if that was to throw, Real Madrid look like, is that right? Look, Bernardo's probably do a job there. But, you want your top players in their best positions, I always think, especially for these games. Against Palace, no offence to Palace, but
anybody think Pep is going to overthink this game?
I think you could.
Possibly, yeah.
I think they've got to play Kovacic. In the away leg, I think that City look a lot more secure defensively when Kovacic plays in with Rodri. I think one of the big issues is that a lot of the season Rodri's been left alone. Which is just almost an impossible task in some games. So even though it can cost City in an offensive manner, I think Kovacic should play this game be more secure defensively. Like if you walk away with even a 0-0 draw back to the Etihad, I think that's more than enough. So I'd go Kovacic, but
I feel like Pep's this is gonna be a detriment to City, but I just feel what we were speaking about a couple minutes ago. I think he's gonna start Foden and KDB, and it's just gonna take away from Foden
in the middle.
No, I think he's gonna start. I actually believe he will start Foden on the right, Grealish on the left, and play Kovacic, Kevin De Bruyne, and Rodri in the middle. That's what I think Pep will go.
By the way,
I
that's
think
the
he's gonna
only right answer.
Say that again?
Otherwise, they'll get torn apart. In my opinion, in that midfield. Because Real Madrid play with 4 midfielders and 2 forwards. Leaving Rodri. Okay, so one of the things that City do this season that every time I'm watching is Rodri is always isolated when he doesn't play Kovacic. Always isolated against a couple of, especially when City press high and the other team bypass the press. And listen, Real Madrid have the quality to bypass City's press. As I say, there's a few teams in the world that can do that. You leave Rodri exposed. And Rico Lewis in that middle, yes, he is good and all of this, but Rico Lewis is Rico Lewis. He's still inexperienced. He needs to play Kovacic, as Rory said. That's a must. I don't think there is any other way around it. Unless he thinks he can go to the Bernabeu and totally dominate Real Madrid as he did at the Etihad last season. Like, I think it's all about Rodri being isolated in that midfield in the transition. Listen, Camavinga, Bellingham, Rodrigo, and Vinicius Jr. on the transition means not the counter attack, especially on the transition, they are deadly. And if he leaves Rodri by himself with that defense that has been ball watching the majority of the time, they're flat-footed all the time, this defense, I think he'll get exposed. Definitely you do.
I think John Stones, sorry, Mo, I think John Stones is key as well because he obviously pushes up to help Rodri. So, and John Stones is terrific. So he will start. Well, if John Stones doesn't, I don't know who the bloody hell's starting. So John Stones should start and push up into mid and help Rodri out. And then, but then if Rico plays, maybe he'll start inverting him. So it's
actually, John Stones today, Tone, cannot invert.
Because that exposes the right back.
No, but because you don't have a centre back. Yeah. Normally, John Stones invert if you have 3 centre backs to play. Who's gonna stay at the back then? You have no centre backs really.
Yeah, well, that's the problem, really. I think if Guardiola played, that would help us a lot. I think if Rico plays, he will be the one who does it. But if he doesn't, and Guardiola somehow makes the team, then I think it'll be John Stones who pushes in, and Akanji, Diaz, and Guardiola will keep the centre between the 3 of them because they're 3 centre backs. I know Guardiola plays left. Akanji does play centre back most of the time, but they are 3 centre backs essentially. Guardiola being fit, I think, is huge. If he is, I don't think he's going to be, from what I've heard. So, yeah, we'll have to see. But I think Rico will be the one that inverts if he starts. If he doesn't, it'll be John Stones who will push up and help Rodri. And then I don't think you need Kovacic if John Stones pushes up in there. I love Kovacic, it's great, but I don't think he's needed for this one.
Yeah. Listen, before we move on to Arsenal, I want to ask everyone in the panel, and I want to say in the chat, guys, there's over 600 people here. We can definitely get to 400 likes. The like button is underneath the live chat, helps the channel massively, people. Right? And also, Rory's channel is in the description. Brilliant content, daily, 6:30 UK time. You tune in to Rory Talks Football. Absolutely brilliant content daily to update about Arsenal. So make sure to go and subscribe to Rory. And I want everyone in the chat to 600 to tell me which game is more exciting. If you are to choose one game to watch, because this is a big dilemma, I'm going to tell you why. It's a big dilemma. Everyone in the chat, I want you to write one word. Right? One word. City or Arsenal. Don't tell me City or MD, just one word. No life stories. Which game is more exciting? What does the panel think? Remove your City hat, remove your Liverpool, remove your Arsenal hat. Genuinely tell me, convince me, if I'm to watch a game today, which game is more exciting?
I actually think City.
I'm going to go Arsenal.
It's a very intriguing conversation. Why, Rory?
Because I think Bayern know they don't need to come to the Emirates and win. And I think we might play it a little bit safe. You know, we are still new back really to this stage of the Champions League. I can see it being quite I can see it being quite an edgy game. No one really committing too much. So I can see it, you know, maybe Arsenal come out with a 1-0, maybe it's 1-1. Whereas I could see City Real Madrid in Madrid just being quite wide open. I think I've just got a feeling that the way Real Madrid are going to have to play to try and beat City, I've just got a feeling that's going to be a more exciting game. We'll see.
I believe you've kind of gone opposite to what I was going to say about the Arsenal game, Rory. I believe that because the league is done for Bayern now, I genuinely believe they're just going to go gung-ho. It's going to play into your hands. Don't get twisted. But I believe they're going to go gung-ho. I feel like because, you know, at this moment in time, yes, they've got more experience in the competition, but because you're the better team, you're going to take it to them also, because I think Arsenal could potentially not end the tie tonight, but you could win comfortably. And I think you can have 1 foot in the semi-finals, depending on how you go about tonight's performance. Is Sane fit, by the way? I heard rumours that he may not be.
50-50.
It's touch and go, but if he is fit, I still think Gnabry, Kane, Sane on the transition, because I think Arsenal will dominate. In my opinion, Arsenal have more of the ball. I think it can be kind of end to end, but Arsenal will be more controlled, where Bayern will be quite frantic. But I'll just have that game just ahead. And the fact that we haven't seen it in a long time, we've seen Real Madrid and City the last few seasons. I think that plays a big part. I think Bayern and Arsenal but both are brilliant games. Both. Yeah. I'm going to have two screens watching both.
The problem is I'm doing a watch along with HUSAM, and he wants me to pick one game, and I normally watch every single game. And I'm like, no. Tone, what do you think? Which game is more exciting?
For the reasons Rory said, and sorry if I sound biased, but I'd probably say City Real Madrid. I would watch that Arsenal game above the other two ties tomorrow. And like Rory said earlier, it's a pain in the backside that they're on the same time. Really is, because they're the two best ties by bloody far.
I actually think PSG Barcelona are very exciting.
Yeah, actually,
wide open, 5-5 stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would go City for the reasons Rory said, as I say, and obviously I'll be watching City, but I'll be keeping a little eye on Arsenal on the iPad or something. You know, that's the good thing about nowadays. Especially, I'm a bit older than you lads, so I'm not used to all this stuff. So yeah.
I don't think you're older than me. I don't think you're older than me, but fine.
Oh, I don't know. We'll check off camera. We don't want to give away our ages on air.
No,
I don't. Anyway,
listen, guys. 700 people here, and we're gonna move to Arsenal now. Believe it or not, almost 15 minutes, and Footy Judge Mo channel have not spoken about Arsenal yet. And we still have people. But guys, hit that like button. I'm gonna stop and do every single super chat. So get your super chats in. I'm gonna stop in the middle of the Arsenal section to do all the super chats. Get your opinions in, right? And then I'm gonna stop. We're gonna respond to each and every one of them. I'm actually doing a watch along for both. With HUSAM live on This Is Football with him. I'm doing a watch along for both games. I know that I'll be focused more on Arsenal. In my opinion, I actually think there is no game for Manchester City that is that exciting, but this game is different. Because I genuinely don't know what Pep is going to do. One of the things that I noticed is Pep has evolved. Pep has learned. Pep, if he played against Real Madrid last season in the first game, and he literally, in a part of the game, gave Real Madrid the ball, which is something that we don't normally see from Pep Guardiola. So that's very exciting. For Arsenal, though, it's exciting for a different reason. Because I want to see Arsenal if they can win against Bayern Munich. I actually want to see, if Arsenal win this thing, I think we'll break the internet. And I said that many times. And the world, I want to watch the world burn. Listen, I said what I said yesterday. That's for another day. I said Arsenal double is more impressive than City's treble. If Arsenal win the double this season, it's more impressive than City's treble.
I'm not biting on that, Mo. I'm not
saying that. I'm said that if you haven't watched that debate yesterday between me and Nobbins, go and watch it yesterday, the last hour of that show, right? I'm not an Arsenal fan at all. My team went out, so I want to watch the world burn. Simple as that. You know what I mean? I'm that guy. I'm that guy. Going to the Arsenal game against Bayern Munich, Rory. A lot of Arsenal fans are brushing Bayern away. Lots
Fools.
haven't learned. They haven't.
Fools.
They haven't
Who?
learned.
Just people on Twitter.
Yeah. And okay, don't listen.
Egal.
Don't tell me. Actually, no. Egal actually has been very rational. When
There you go.
Do you know he did
Egal
that?
rational.
He did that. He did a combined 11, and he genuinely put 5 players from Bayern in there. And I'm like, are you in the right frame of mind? Maybe you're fasting. Maybe you're fasting and you don't want to lie.
Are you sure that was Egal?
fasting.
That might have been a clue.
Egal. It's brilliant, guys. Check out Egal with his TikToks. Absolutely brilliant. He put 5 Bayern players in there. One of the things that about Bayern today, Rory, that I just checked, they're all fit. Everyone.
Pretty much.
Each and every.
Well,
apart from the kid that is called Sar that I never seen play.
Mm.
Davis is fit. Coleman now is fit somehow. Coleman is fit. So everyone is fit for that team. Even Manuel Neuer is fit. How do you see your chances going through, though, before we go into the tactical aspect of the game?
I think our chances are good. I think if we play at our highest level, I think we should beat this Bayern team. I know that, their players are fit. A lot of them haven't been fit recently, so are they going to be at 100%? Who knows? And I think even with Coleman, I think he's still actually 50-50. I know he traveled. I think they took everyone. But yeah, I think we've got a good chance. I think tonight is the big one. I think tonight kind of not dictates how the tie's going to go, but if we win tonight, I think we go through. I think we've shown with games like at the Etihad, if we win tonight and all we need to do is go to the Allianz and draw, I think that'll be fine. I think we're capable of doing that. So tonight's the big one. Tonight's the one we have to go for it. No Bayern Munich fans in the stadium. Well, there probably will be a few, but they'll get battered if they make a noise. So yeah, tonight's the night. We should go through. And but we have looked a bit shaky in the Champions League. You know, Porto in the round of 16, there were players that looked uncharacteristically edgy, nervous, and this is an even bigger game against far bigger opposition. So, you know, there's no guarantees, and that's why I think, you know, anyone that's people saying pray for Bayern and stuff like that, that's just
that's the one.
That's football Twitter fools, you know.
Yeah.
By the way, football Twitter is a real thing. I don't know why people think of people on Twitter as not real people. They are real people.
Not. Look at the way
they are. You are on Twitter and you go to the games. You are a real fan.
Yeah, but I'm not on Twitter. I'm not hiding behind the.
Tone is a Man City fan from Manchester, and he's on Twitter.
But we're real people.
What do you mean real people?
I don't have a picture of Declan Rice as my profile picture, and you know I'm not called Rice Season.
Some of them are like, for example, there is a Twitter account called Santi, right? He has like 100,000.
I think it's
Santi. He has
yeah.
Gabriel Jesus, right?
Yeah.
And at the end, it's a real person. He has a YouTube channel and everything, and he does videos and stuff.
Yeah.
People are real. And by the way, I want to tell you, Twitter is a big thing, and it's a reflection of how a normal fan feels. People that say that, oh, Twitter fans aren't real. No, they are real. And you meet some of them. We are on Twitter. A lot of people used to be on HUSAM used to be on Twitter and debate on Spaces. Is HUSAM a real person? Roms used to be on Twitter sometimes. He used to go to Spaces.
Yeah.
People think it's like, oh my God, these people are not real. They are real.
No, they're
maybe
real,
they do stuff for,
I think what Rory
maybe they do stuff for clicks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
People, they definitely on Spaces it's different, but you know the people that are sat behind a, you know, like I said, a random name, a picture of a player, and they say things to get engagements. That's the kind of.
I get what you're saying there, but some opinions are just.
Rory, are you also saying
I've
as well?
heard weird stuff on YouTube than Twitter.
Would you say? Would you say people on Twitter? It's not as rational as well. You're either here or you're there. There's no real...
and it's just not reflective of. If I went to the Emirates tonight and I go round and I ask everyone's opinion on the game, I'm not going to find someone that's going to say pray for Bayern. We're going to beat them 5-0. Like that's what I mean by they're not real. Like they're real, but they're not reflective of the majority of.
I've got a question, Rory. You just touched on it, right? Do you think Arsenal just need to win, or do you think you need to win comfortably, comprehensively, maybe by a 2-3 goal margin, or you just want to win?
Yeah, I just think win. I think win, and I would back us to go to Germany.
1-0, you think 1-0 will get you through? I don't think so.
I think so.
margin
I think
isn't
1-0
enough.
or 2-1 could be dangerous. I think a 1-goal margin could be dangerous.
It's dangerous,
Yeah.
but I think it would be enough. And I look at it and I go, okay, if we're going away to defend a 1-goal lead, looking at the way that Bayern have been exposed defensively this season, if they have to push for a goal because they're chasing, I think that leaves players like Martinelli, Saka on the break. I think we could do a lot of damage. So yeah, I think getting the win is important.
Who's favourites, Tone?
Arsenal. Arsenal
Why?
are favourites, purely based on how they're playing at the moment. I don't think Bayern are as good as they have been in recent years. Even players are going to get hammered by some City fans because they love Sane, but even Sane's not played particularly well that I've seen. A lot of their fans are having a go at Harry Kane, which is weird because he seems to have scored every goal for them pretty much. But I make Arsenal favourites purely because they're playing better. They're very, very good at centre-back. Declan Rice, great player. Loved him before he moved. Brilliant player, great addition. And as you saw against City, they can see games out. You saw another side of Arsenal, a side you have not seen for many a year, in that if they have to make it tough, they will make it tough. And that's why I think they will beat Bayern over 2 legs. There's a chance if Bayern start turning up like they have been in those league games, this could, I don't think it will, but it could be a 3 or 4 if Bayern don't turn up tonight and Arsenal do turn up. The only question mark I think with Arsenal is the mentality side and the crunch time. This is it now. There's no more we beat so-and-so back in it. This is it. These are the games, and that's the only question mark. They're a very good team. Arteta's doing well, as I say, brilliantly defensively, but they have to get over the line in these games and win when it absolutely matters. And there is perhaps, and they've been scoring goals for fun, but there is maybe a small question mark about who will get those goals, like City have Haaland and Liverpool have Salah and all that. And Arsenal have good players, very good players. But who is that one there, if you see what I mean? So I think Arsenal will win. I think they're a very, very good team. They've improved a lot. But there are just a couple of little question marks, but I still think they'll win anyway.
Tony,
over Bayern Munich.
You said you were spot on about mentality, and I even saw Rory slightly nod because you saw in the Porto game, right? And this was with the Emirates second leg. You saw it was still kind of tough. I wouldn't say Arsenal was still playing their game, but mentally you could see there was a mental block. Now, if Bayern do get a result or are only at a 1-goal deficit and Arsenal go into the Allianz, Bayern, regardless what they're doing in the league, they still have that know-how. They haven't won it 6 times for no reason. And as bad as Tuchel is, he is a cup manager. We've seen this. He's won the Champions League with Chelsea in that run, only conceding 4 goals. He got to the final with PSG. He is a cup manager. And that's why I asked Rory, do you just want to win or do you want to win emphatically, or not emphatically, but comfortably? Because I think you're spot on. I have Arsenal to go through. I think Arsenal will go through. However, if Bayern get a draw or even win or even just 1-goal deficit, taking them back to the Allianz, we'll really see the mental strength of this Arsenal team. We'll really see what they're made of.
I actually think anybody that says Arsenal are favourites are just putting pressure on Arsenal.
Mo, just go along with it. I'm joking. I genuinely believe Arsenal are favourites, though. I genuinely believe Arsenal are favourites.
Do you not, Matt?
No, of course not.
You think Bayern are?
Yeah, of course. 100%.
But that's so. But
What's your
purely based
reason?
on experience.
It's very, very simple. Arsenal playing very, very good football, and Bayern playing not great in the league. But Bayern have tons of players that won this competition before, that played in this round before, many years and many times. Some of them lifted the trophy in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Arsenal, and I'm not saying that because I'm knocking down Arsenal or anything. Arsenal are playing the better football. Arsenal arguably have the best defense in the world in the current moment. With that block of Ben White, Gabriel Saliba, and Declan Rice in front of them, along with whoever plays it, Jorginho or Partey, doesn't matter. That's the best defense. And it's not only about goals conceded. It's about the amount of chances and amount of shots you allow. So you prevent the opposition from actually getting into the positions to cross or do something. But Bayern, we just started this saying that whoever plays second leg at their ground already have an advantage. That by itself is that I think we look at this City and Real Madrid game different than what we look at Arsenal and Bayern game. We look at City. If City were playing second leg at Madrid, a lot of City fans will tell you it's a 50-50 or even in the Real Madrid favorite because we are playing the second leg in the Bernabeu. The fact that Arsenal are going to the Allianz Arena, and nobody tells me here that going to the Allianz Arena in the Champions League is easy. It's not easy. No matter
We
who
made
you
it
are.
look easy. We made it look easy.
Yeah, but listen, the other thing is that Thomas Tuchel is a specialist in this thing.
Yeah.
The guy went to the cup finals with Chelsea and lost to penalties, both cup finals in England and Chelsea. Went to the finals PSG, won it with Chelsea, being the underdog in every single game, by the way. Thomas Tuchel won it with Chelsea, being the underdog in every single knockout stage he played. He was behind, I think, against I don't know who, like against Dortmund, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the games. So the fact that Arsenal are playing the second leg in Madrid and in Bayern just puts pressure automatically on him. Some of Arsenal players have never played in the quarterfinal before. And also, there is one more thing that people forget. The team, it's not only about individuals, it's about a collective team that played together at the stage to pick each other up. I think it's a big hurdle for Arsenal. I don't think Arsenal are favorites, but I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal win the game, if win the tie, right? I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't think Arsenal are favorites at all in this tie. Just because we speak English, we only follow English media, right? And we all do YouTube English, and we all watch Arsenal only probably hear myself watch a little bit of Serie A because I support Inter, right? I don't even watch a lot of Serie A. But if you ask anybody, you're going with, I'm not little bro in Arsenal, but Arsenal in the quarterfinal in the Champions League going to Bayern Munich away with most of their players fit is just a big hurdle. This is how I'm watching it. I know you guys are watching it from a football aspect. I'm watching it from, as HUSAM says, intangibles. It's just very simple. And the Porto game proves my point, actually.
Yeah, I hear it.
I understand the logic.
I do think that this season we've shown in some regard that we do learn from those big, I think the performances we've had against City in both games this season compared to losing against them in both games last season, I think there is clear growth in a mental side. Now, again, this is another level. It's another scenario that they've not been in. Yeah, look, you might be right. You might be right. Might be sat here tomorrow crying.
No, but it's not about that. It's about the game. Like people think that some people think it's a full-on conclusion that Arsenal will win this game. And I'm like, Manchester City, it took them years with a manager like Pep to finally win it. Years. And he had to learn and adapt and change his tactics. I remember the Monaco game for Manchester City, and I'm like, are you stupid? Same. What are you doing? You're winning the game. Why are you going full guard? And then he does it again against Real Madrid, where he's winning the game, controlling the control. Yeah, the Leon game as well. But the Leon game was Raheem Sterling literally just lost the game. Let's be real. Let's be real. Raheem Sterling was absolutely abysmal in that.
I remember. Thank you, Mo. Thank you.
That particular game I can't forget. No, but even Pep Guardiola is learning. Well, one of the things that I wanted to allude to is Pep Guardiola last season, and I repeat that many, many times because it's very big in football, is adaptation, learning. Pep Guardiola last season learned against Arsenal. He didn't mind Arsenal having the ball. Against Real Madrid away, he didn't mind Real Madrid having the ball. One of the things that Arteta has done earlier in his career is adapt. Is being a Diego Simeone and at the same time can be Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp. He can play ping pong football. He can have position and control. And he can literally just be a Simeone. Have the ball all you want. We'll defend until tomorrow and you won't be able to break us. Can this guy Arteta literally like dominate, be then the big thing? People still doubt him, even though he adapts and he does this and he does that. Why do people doubt this guy?
Because he's at Arsenal. I think if Arteta was
No,
doing
no,
what he's doing, I
no,
genuinely
no,
believe
no,
if he
no,
was
no.
doing what he's doing at a different club, he would get a lot more credit. And also,
Roy.
he's got to win things, right? That's the
Yeah.
first. That's the first thing. He has to win things. No player or manager will ever get a certain level of respect until they've started winning things. So that's the first big thing. But I do genuinely think you look at the praise that Postecoglou was getting after 3 months at Spurs. It's incredible, and I do think being at Arsenal is a different thing. But yeah, I don't see a reason why he can't go on and dominate. I think throughout his time at Arsenal, even when we won the FA Cup with one of the worst Arsenal squads I've ever seen, in his
Wasn't
first
even
6
his
months,
squad. It was
wasn't
Emery's.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he changed it into a back five and really shithoused his way to an FA Cup by, not conceding. And that was the first thing he did, was figure out a way of not conceding goals, which we had been so bad at previously. Now he's got his own squad. We're seeing the progress that he's made. He's evolved that squad. The way we played this season compared to last season even is very different. And so I think you give him the tools, he really can probably win anything. But like we said, you've got to do it before you'll get the respect.
Do you know what, Rory, as well, with Arteta? I believe, obviously, Klopp's leaving. If Pep does leave, you said he's got one more year from this summer, didn't you, Tony? If Pep was to leave, 2025,
Yeah.
I don't think Arteta's going anywhere anytime soon. I think if both leave, there is a possibility Arsenal could go back. No, Mo, there's a possibility. I'm not saying it will happen.
No.
Possibility.
I just want to stay on. You don't think Arteta's going anywhere?
For the next couple years, no, I don't. I think he's now got his players. And another reason why he could even potentially, I wouldn't say dominate, but he could pick Pep to a league this season, if not this season, next season. He's worked under Pep. Yes, Pep has different personnel, and sometimes individual brilliance can win you games, but he is a student of Pep. He's worked with Pep for long, so he will know other little intricacies that other managers don't know about Pep. So I do believe, I think dominate is the wrong word. I don't think Arteta will dominate whilst Pep's here. But who's to say once Pep and Klopp are now gone, he can't? It's a possibility it could happen. Because he's now earned his respect. And I think Rory's spot on. For me, it's not just winning things. I think Arteta has to win the league or the Champions League because he's won the FA Cup and he's still not getting his respect. So I think once he wins one of the big two, I think even from a rival's perspective, we'll all actually have to give him his flowers. But until then, Rory's bang on. I don't think he's going to get that respect till he wins one of the big trophies. Rory, can I ask you something? Champions League or Prem, if you had to just pick one? I'm assuming it will be Champions
League. We've never won it. Yeah, champs. We've never won it. Look, it would be incredible to win the Premier League this season in a 3-horse race. Like it's the season that looks like it's going to go down as a really memorable one. But I just think never won the Champions League. To do it against Pep as well, competing in the same competition, and also because the Champions League changes next season, I can guarantee. If we don't win it this year, but won it next year, they'd go, yeah, but it's not the proper one. It's not the real one, the traditional one, even though it's changed a lot over the past anyway. So yeah, win the Champions League this year and then win the Premier League next year, or just do a double, which, as Mo said, would be better than the treble.
And I'm still not.
I swear to God, and I'm fasting. Right, it's the last day of Ramadan. I didn't say that to banter or to create havoc or to create chaos or anything. It was a genuine statement. and I'm not going to discuss it now because if we discuss it now, it's just going to... But I want to do it. What Rom said is crazy. You said Arteta not going anywhere.
Do you think, Mo, he's leaving too? Because I don't. What? It's not mad to say that he'll stay here for the next 2-3 years.
No, I think he'll get sacked.
Sacked? They love him. Upstairs, they adore him.
Wait. I'm gonna ask you something, Roms. Just series of questions to reach a conclusion, right? And Rory's here with me, right? Do you think Arsenal will win the Premier League this season?
Yes. They're my favorites.
Okay. I believe if he wins it, it's done. The conversation is over. We're not having this conversation, right?
Yeah.
If he wins it, because he won it, it's done, it's over. But if Arteta to win the league or the Champions League this season, and he doesn't win either of them next year, you really think Arsenal are going to go, yeah, we'll give you an extension? You really think that?
Mo, to answer your question, no, but because I believe they
Okay.
will, that's why I think he's going to be here
All
for
right
2-3 years.
then.
Of course, with your logic, because what it is, right? I thought you were even going to say if he doesn't win anything this season, will he be sacked? But
No,
they'll
I'm
see
not
his
gonna say
progression.
that because
But if you're right, if he doesn't win anything this year and next year, I'm not stupid. Come on, I reckon they'll say, you
all
know
right
what,
then.
you've taken the team as far as possible. But because I feel he will, even if he doesn't win anything this year, I think next year, it's pretty much nailed on. He wins one of the big two because the team's full flowing.
Can I have a scenario for you? If he
Um,
doesn't win the league or the Champions League this season or next year, he walks. He goes to City. If Pep
City.
doesn't extend,
And if Arteta doesn't win anything the next 2 years, you think City?
yes, you'll take him
And why do you think we would take him, Mo?
because your board will believe he will win something at City.
He knows the club as well. He actually knows the club.
If Pep,
Yeah,
Pep doesn't extend, I believe Pep is going to extend 2 more years. I believe Pep is
Mm.
going to stay at City 10 years, from 2017 to 2027, right?
Yeah.
And the people that say Arteta wouldn't leave us or anything, there has to be a threshold. And I'm not here to discuss this today in the night of the Champions League, but there has to be a threshold. Even Rory. What is your threshold, Rory? Short answer. Threshold for Arteta
what?
to go.
I don't think there. I don't think that. Well, there would be a threshold eventually, but I don't think he'd go Arsenal to City. I think if he had any plans of managing City in the future, he'd go Barca in between it, and then he could go because if he goes to Barca, he goes, childhood club, my home country, an Arsenal fan goes, fair enough. Then he goes to City after that. Well, at that point, Arsenal will have moved on. We'll have a new manager. I'd be very, very surprised, given what Arsenal as a fan base and as a club have given to Arteta, the way they stuck by him when times were tough. I'd be very surprised if he went from Arsenal to City.
Would you take him, Tony, at all?
I still think he's got stuff to prove. I think there's more pressure on him than Liverpool and City this year because he hasn't. Well, he's not won anything, but I think Arsenal are under more pressure to deliver trophies this year. I think there is pressure on Liverpool as well, and there'll be.
You think this year?
This year, I definitely think for these reasons and there is Liverpool and a bit with City as well. I would say this as a City fan, so I'm going to get hammered, but we've just won the treble, the 2 World Club Euro Super things and all that sort of stuff, right? We've won quite a lot in the last sort of 5 or 6 years. That, in my view, takes a little bit. It doesn't mean we don't want to win it, but it takes a little bit of pressure off City to win it this season. Whereas Arsenal, I think they've backed Arteta. They've got a good team. They've got a solid foundation there. Now is the time. I'm not saying they'll sack him if they don't win anything. I don't think that will happen. But I do think the pressure is slightly more on Arsenal to win, certainly the Premier League. Champions League's a lottery, but the Premier League, I would say, they're under slightly more pressure to win it for that reason, because they need to start showing, like Rory said as well, the mental side that they can get over the line. If they win the Premier League this year, that is huge, and Arteta will get credit, Arsenal will get credit, and they could go on from there. There's no doubt. But that's why I think they're under slightly more pressure to win it.
Yeah. Let me do a couple of these super chats before I move into the last part, which is a question for the 3 of you. HUSAM fan and Mo's fan. It's will you do a double stream with HUSAM tonight? Yes, I will. We will do a watch along today. Sorry, the super chats are covering Rory. I will try to fix the overlay soon enough. Or Rory can go up. It's fine. That's easy. Chelsea won the Champions League while awful in the Prem. Madrid have won it plenty while underwhelming in the Liga. LG.
League
I don't know who's LG. League form does not matter in the knockout. 2-1 Arsenal. Yes, 100%. I agree with you. That's not a bad take. Ebi, thank you so much. That's what I say. Bayern are favorites. Bermuda Gunner, thank you for the super chat. So Rory, we have to win at home. Bayern only have this tie to save their season. Goals are paramount. Come on, you Gunners. Yes, thank you so much.
Agreed.
Bermuda Gunner. Ebby's saying, I agree with Mo. Bayern are favorites. This is our squad first time in this part of the Champions League. Allianz second leg stuff. Experience matters. It matters big time. Of course, AMT saying, is Tuchel a Dortmund agent? Nah, he's not. Come on. He's not. He's not. Dan Carlito saying, why do Arsenal fans always looking for respect? Wow. Rory, what do you think that? Do you think Arsenal fans are always looking for validation?
No, but the issue is we're the only people. If we're the only people that give ourselves respect, we're called deluded. I think that's the element of it. It's like, well, if we don't respect ourselves, we're certainly not going to get the respect from anyone else. But then by giving ourselves respect, it's like, oh, can't stand Arsenal fans, as if we are the only fan base in the world that gives our own team praise. So look, other people's validation, it is what it is. It is frustrating when you watch things and like, you know, people act as if Arsenal haven't been good this season or last season. But ultimately, look, when we start lifting trophies, I think that respect will come. So,
last question. Since the three of you said that Arsenal are favorites, do you guys think it's a failure if Arsenal go out to Bayern then?
At this, yes, I would have to say yes. Because I've held them to a high standard. I've said semi-final, their first season back in how many, 7 years, it'll be... I'm not expecting Arsenal to win the Champions League. I don't think Arsenal win the Champions League, but I do expect them to reach the semis. And with the context how this Bayern team are, my personal opinion, it would be a failure if they don't get to the semis at least.
Is anybody
sorry, go on, Tony.
Sorry, Rory, you go, mate.
No, I just think, I think it would be... I don't think it would be a failure in the grand scheme of things. I think getting to Champions League quarterfinals in the first season back is not a failure, but it would be a disappointment. I think given the way that Bayern are playing, if you'd said to us at the start of the season, you're going to reach the quarterfinals, you're going to get drawn against Bayern, and you're going to go out playing the second leg away from home, I think fans would go, do you know what? That's not the end of the world. Because of the context of where Bayern are at right now and where we're at right now, I think if we were to lose, you'd have to question, to some degree, the mentality, because it's only mentality really that can let us down.
Do you agree, Tone?
Yeah, I do. I think they'll never have a better chance of beating someone like Bayern in a quarterfinal. I can tell you that. And now is the time. Now we've been discussing it as well. I'm very intrigued. I'm not going to be switching City off for it, but I'm very intrigued to see.
Imagine Tone is like keeping an eye on Arsenal.
Oh, don't! I'll get lynched. So if anyone clips this clip, I never said it. I'm very intrigued to see how they get on, and I'm peed off. The bloody second leg will obviously be on the same day because, I think if they drop out of the Champions League to Bayern, I think they've missed an opportunity. It's not a disappointment if they win the Premier League. If they win the Premier League, it doesn't matter what else you do. You've had a successful season. City, Liverpool, or Arsenal win the Premier League. Successful season, no matter what. The Premier League is, all the managers say, is the most is the toughest and the one they want to win. Pep, everybody says it. Even when they've won the Champions League, they say the Premier League's always the one. That is the one, and whoever wins that has had a good season. And if Arsenal do it, they've had a great season, in my opinion, even if they drop out to Bayern Munich.
I genuinely think I actually believe Arsenal already achieved reaching a quarterfinal of the Champions League. I don't know why people say. I know I see a lot of people. They watch Arsenal play and they assume that Arsenal should reach like the final of the Champions League. Oh, you're playing very well. You're top of the Premier League. You should reach the final. It's a different sport. It's a different competition completely. I actually think that it's just more pressure on Arsenal. And the fact that they are drawn against Bayern, and then it doesn't matter who they face in the second round. They're still going to play the second leg away from home.
Yeah.
I think
Arsenal for this tie, don't get me wrong, if we come up against Madrid or City in the semi-final and we go out, there's no shame in that whatsoever. The thing with this tie is it's an opportunity, and you never know when you're going to get those opportunities again. And so it does matter that we're playing this well this season and we're in this current vein of form and Bayern aren't, because, next season you might draw City in the quarterfinals, you might draw whoever. Like, you've got to take those opportunities when they're presented, and this is an opportunity.
It's a very big opportunity. Yeah, go ahead.
Would you say this counts as well? Like, there's an air of vengeance because you've seen it in the Champions League where we beat a Milan team that was levels above us. 2 years later, they got their revenge. You've seen, there's other examples I can't think of the top of my head, but like the last 3 games against Bayern have been 5-1 losses in a row. So there's that air of, you know what, we need to get back at them. And the fact, I don't think you're ever going to play a worse Bayern team. I don't think it gets any worse than this.
What do you mean
particular
worse?
season.
This team is not bad.
No, when I say worse,
Bayern though.
as in
You
like
assume
form.
Bayern will get better. Yeah.
Like Mo, let me ask you this: do you think Bayern will ever have a season like, not ever, but do you think Bayern in the next coming seasons will have a season like this?
No.
Exactly. So that's
But
what
I genuinely don't think this Bayern Munich, like today's game, has nothing to do with Bayern being 16 points behind Bayern Leverkusen at all. By the way, the fact that they got all their players back, the fact that they're playing the Champions League, I think it's a completely different. I want to say different sport. They're playing hockey in the league, and this is going to be football. Bro, I see it. Real Madrid have won the Champions League being atrocious or terrible in the league. It's completely different vibes.
I agree with that. I agree.
You know, you're spot on, though, because we've seen the worst teams. Us in 2005, both times Chelsea won it. They weren't even top 3 in Europe.
Yeah.
Bro, it's a completely different sport. Different nerves, different way of playing football, different setup for the teams. Like, if Porto are playing Arsenal in the Premier League, Arsenal would smash them 5. It's
I think
different.
The revenge angle's interesting because I think fans definitely want revenge. None of our current players, were anywhere near that squad, so it's not quite the same. But there were a couple of Bayern players that will play tonight that were involved in that. So there's a couple of those Bayern players that I would like to see. Yeah,
Two,
get
right?
a bit of
Neuer
a taste of their
and
own
Müller.
medicine. Neuer and Müller, yeah. So
yeah, that's the last time. Was that 2014?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's before Kimmich time.
Yeah.
Because Kimmich. Anyway, listen, people. This has been absolutely an amazing show. Actually, very calm, composed. Listen, guys. Tonight we have a reaction. It'll be crazy, of course, after the Arsenal game and the City game. We'll see what happens. It'll be Hamza. It'll be Dio. It would be sad. It'll be Patrick. That's completely different vibes than this show. It'll be great. And guys, stay here. This will take you to This Is Football. I think so. It will take you to This Is Football, to HUSAM stream. Go there. And I want you to type one thing. No chest HUSAM is the thing. Oh, there's one super chat that I completely missed. I apologize, AMT. He's saying Chelsea is so crap, but their fans still mention the Champions League for validation. At least they won the Champions League, AMT.
It holds weight. It does hold weight.
Big weight. And they didn't just win it like 10 years ago. Wasn't it 2021?
Yeah, it was recent.
It's just 3 seasons ago. This is it.
Yeah.
So it's a big thing. I appreciate everyone that joined us. Thank you, guys. And hopefully, guys, we'll see you soon. So stay here and we'll see you guys soon. And we're out of here, people.